Hi guys, hi, good evening everyone. So let's see who all are there today in the comment section. So hi Viresh, hi Naga, hi Anjali, hi Arc D Programmer, good name. Sri, Isha, and Prashant, and who else are there? Okay, Pradnya, right? Yeah, Pradnya, then Isha, Raj. Hi everyone. Good evening, and I hope you are doing well, guys. And we are here to make your evening amazing. So it's Sunday, and in this weekend, we are here uh, to make you learn something. Let's not entirely waste our weekend. So let's learn something in the weekend. So this is JavaScript 0 to hero day one, guys. Essentials 2.0. So as you know, guys, it's a totally new model. So we'll be doing 5 days. Okay. So day one, day two, day three. Like today is the first class, day one, 3rd October. So this we will meet again like for the next 4 days. So in total 5 days you have to attend. So we'll be having only 1 hour class, guys. And in this 5 days, you'll learn very basics of JavaScript, and you'll build your fundamentals regarding JavaScript, so that you can understand, okay, what is JavaScript for, and what else we can do in JavaScript, and what are the various things to be used, to be done in JavaScript. That's where we are aiming towards this JavaScript Essential 0 to hero program, guys. So let me also inform you one more thing. So this is about the certification, right? So there are, guys, two kinds of certificate. One is participation, and another is completion certificate, right? So who will be eligible for participation, who would be eligible for completion certificate? So guys, if you want to get only participation certificate, you just attend all the 5 days classes, and you just put the attendance for the classes all the 5 days. So attendance links are in the description. Also, it would be put in the comment, guys, by my team member. So you just have to fetch the link, and you have to just put your attendance for every day, every 5 day. And also, guys, if you want a completion certificate from Let's Upgrade, ITM Group of Institutions, NSDC, and Skill India, along with putting attendance for all the 5 days, what else you have to do? Attendance, the assignment is all fine. We have been doing this, guys. Like till now we were saying you submit your assignment, we'll review, and we'll give you completion certificate. But from this JavaScript program onward, we have changed the model a bit. So assignment is there, fine, you will submit it for your practice, you'll do it for your practice, guys. But there will be exam. Okay, you'll have to give exam, and when you qualify the exam, you'll be eligible for getting a completion certificate. Also, guys, I'm very delighted, I'm very happy to tell you all that completion certificate, those who are eligible for completion certificate, you'll be getting a physical copy of it. We'll be sending you, we'll be collecting your address. Okay, so you have to update your address in our profile in letsupgrade.in. So we'll be sending the certificate in the same address, guys, whatever you'll be filling in your profile, right? Understood? I hope everyone got the information, guys. So if you just want participation certificate, you fill attendance for all these 5 days of classes. Along with that, if you also want completion certificate, a physical copy of completion certificate from Let's Upgrade, ITM, NSDC, and Skill India, then you have to give the exam, and you would basically have to qualify it. Okay, and you would how would you be eligible for exam? You have to attend all the session, and you have to put your attendance, guys. So I think there would be some question regarding like where is the like when would be the exam happen, right? Okay, and where we can give the attendance. So attendance link is in the video description. You can fetch it, and you can put your attendance there. And all the students who will attend all the session and put attendance, they would be eligible for exams. So you'll be receiving mail regarding your exams and all. But I'll say this: when would be your exam? So guys, last day of JavaScript batch is on 7th October, as this is a 5 days course, right? So 7th October is your last day. So 9th October from 11 a.m. you'll be eligible to give exams. You'll be receiving a mail before that, guys, with every detail of the exam, the link where you can apply, where you can appear for the exam and all. And the window would be open for 1 month. Okay, the window would be open for 1 month. Between 1 month, you can give the exam, and if you qualify it, you'll be eligible for completion certificate. So I think now you have a complete information regarding your JavaScript 0 to hero program. So it's time we bring in your instructor for this batch JavaScript, so that I don't want to waste more of your time, and let's start. I'm bringing in your instructor. Meanwhile, guys, can you all please put up your places from where you are actually watching the session, so that we would also get to know. Yeah, so our instructor is yours. Just say hello, guys. Say hi to our instructor, Mr. Prasad Sawant. So he would be taking care of this entire JavaScript batch, guys. He will be taking care of this 5 days JavaScript. He is actually, you might not know, he's an internal team member, but yes, he's amazing at this developing. The like he's good in web development side. He's amazing. He develops a lot of projects by his own, right? So let's all get to know from him. Let's learn JavaScript from him. Okay, I'll not waste more of your time, guys. I'm in the back end now. Let's get started with JavaScript. All yours, Prasad. I'm going in the back end.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Subrat sir. Okay, so hi, good evening, students. And it's been a time I have been teaching. Uh, like I have taught JavaScript batch in the very initial stages at Let's Upgrade. And yep, so it's great to see you all again, and it's great to get hand dirty in JavaScript again after a long time, right? And again, Subrat sir, like I'm getting a few queries regarding the attendance form. Some link is like error 404. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So what, like why we are here today, right? So JavaScript, as you know, right, is like getting very popular day and day. Okay. Okay. So before I go ahead, just a small confirmation, guys. Is my voice audible clearly to you all? Just in the chat, just put yes, 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 no, yes, no. If like I just need a small confirmation before I actually start up. Yeah, we're just checking the attendance session, like attendance form. Yeah, I'll Isha, I'll just explain what is JS and everything. Just give me a confirmation if my voice is audible, so I can just check. Great, thank you, Harshita. Okay, so what we are going to learn here is what is JavaScript, why is it required, why was it developed at first, who created it, and why is it getting so much popular now. And like if you are learning JavaScript for the first time, like how you should basically learn it, because when you start with JavaScript, right, it is kind of a language that many people are scared of learning, because the code you look at right in the website looks complex to you guys. So it's not actually that complex. Okay, so we are going to learn it very detail, what is JavaScript, what exactly each word and word means in JavaScript. So I am going to take this session in such a way that even if you are learning JavaScript for the very first time, or you are into programming to be very specific for the very first time, you are going to have an amazing experience and knowledge of the fundamentals of programming and JavaScript in this particular whole session, right? So what basically today's agenda, so let's set that agenda for today very specific before we start off, right? So yeah, so what we are going to learn today is the basics of JavaScript, and a few like getting hands dirty in the code, like learning what are data types, what are variables, operators, and some special escape characters, and a little bit of pop-ups here and there. Okay, so let's go ahead. So before we, yes, we are going to take a project in the very end. Okay, we are going to build a proper project, right, using DOM manipulation, everything. So it's in the later part. So I will just tell the agenda for each day, and then we will code it, right? Okay, so before I go ahead, can I get to know like how many people have a little bit of knowledge of JavaScript in the chat? Yes, no, like do you guys know anything about JavaScript? Okay, I'm just waiting for the responses. Meanwhile, I guess Paridhi will get the attendance form fixed, right? So anybody, like, have you basically learned about JavaScript anywhere, or actually tried to code in JavaScript? Okay, so a very good question. What is JavaScript? Okay, so I guess let's dive in directly to what is JavaScript. So I'll share my screen. So we are now going to understand. So next 15 minutes, I want your complete attention here. Okay, so why? Because I am going to teach you, okay, what is JavaScript, how actually it helps into the programming world, okay, and why it is getting very much popular. So okay, just let me open up my chat in my mobile. So is my screen visible? So is my, okay, let me just pull up my notepad. Okay, so just let me check. It's going to be a 5 days of course. I have learned on own. I use Microsoft Word scripting language. 5 days course. One example is form validation. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's think of JavaScript as okay. So I'll give you example. Okay, so there is something along with JavaScript which like it works kind of in a group kind of form, like you have HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's what's the basic combination which is getting very much familiar. Okay, so now let's understand with the famous example, or you can say the most common example, and I have been giving it the same example to make your understanding very much easier. Okay, so let's assume you're building a house. Okay, so when you're building a house, there are three things like what you take. The first is you build a structure. Okay, so it's like structure basically means laying bricks on the foundation. Okay, I'm just writing. I guess my font is visible clearly, guys. Is my font visible? Okay. Okay, so yeah, so basically when you are building the house, right, so the first thing is the structure which you do. Okay, the second thing is the paint and enhancements what you do. Okay, and the third thing is adding functionality. Adding functionality like adding a lift or escalator or kind of automated things, functionality. Okay, now let's add something to each one of them so you get to know where actually JavaScript fits in, and then we'll go like why it is called, what type of language it is it it is a programming language, either it's a scripting language, or either it's both, right? So now let's say like when you are building a house, you are building a structure, so you can relate the same thing in the world of web development to HTML. Okay, now this stands for hypertext markup language. Okay, and you can relate the paint and enhancement, basically design. So what all these things are, you don't need to worry about right now. We have a complete program for that specific which is coming up in the 8th of October, right? So CSS stands for cascading style sheet. So this is basically the styling language which will, you can add design, align your divs here and there. So it's kind of a huge section in its different. Okay, and now the very main, like adding functionality, because you don't want your websites or anything just to be like a plain simple page, right? You want it to interact interact with the client actions, or do some animations, or perform some authentications or database operations. So how this actually things work, right? So that is where JavaScript kicks in. Okay, so now when JavaScript was actually built, okay, so when to like, how many of you know the history of JavaScript? How many of you know the history of JavaScript, guys? So I'm just waiting for the responses. So we'll start like understanding JavaScript from the very core, right? And now like in the end we'll move to the coding part. Okay, I'm just waiting for the responses. So I am hoping you guys to be a little interactive, so that it's kind of, you basically ask your doubts also, so that we can keep this an interactive, so that you get the maximum benefit out of these 5 days. Okay, great. Okay, so when JavaScript, so previously it was just HTML and CSS, and like Mozilla Firefox, right? It was previously known as Netscape Navigator. Okay, so there was a person called as Brandon Ike. He wanted to do something to make their websites alive in Netscape Navigator, and he wanted some kind of language who could have a control over the browser and provide that level of interactivity, right? So he like thought and like studied and did some programming, and he came up with something called as LiveScript. So this was the earlier and the older name of JavaScript. So kind of an interview question, you can just mark it as important. Someone sometimes asks. So LiveScript is what it was called before, and at that time Java was very popular. Okay, so it's kind of a backdated, like in the 90s. Java was very much popular. Okay, and then they decided to join the basically the two names, and they came up with the name JavaScript. Okay, so this is how the name came, JavaScript. Okay, now again understanding what basically JavaScript. Yes, correct, RD programmer. Great. When JS is launched, that time we have only have using scripting language. Great. Okay, so this is how the name came. Java name, like the name JavaScript was invented. Okay, basically they just clubbed LiveScript and Java. Okay, now going ahead, what type of language it is? Okay, is it a scripting language or a programming language? Can anyone answer me this? Is JavaScript a scripting language or a programming language? Guys, I'm waiting for your answers. Okay, I don't know history, but I know basic gist. That's great, Harshita. Programming, okay. Sandeep, I'll come to your question. I am just getting there. Why we actually need JavaScript scripting? Both. Okay, so I see a majority of you have the knowledge, basic knowledge. Yeah. So there are many types of languages. So the basic example is like you can see HTML, right? It's not a programming language. It's a markup language. So its job is to like contain and hold data in between tags, right? So that's what's a markup language do. Another example of markup language is XML. Now CSS is a styling language. Similarly, SQL is a query language. The SQL stands for query language. Now similarly, you have programming language. Okay, now what programming language do is adds functionality, and what scripting language do is basically write scripts. Okay, so now this is the basic, like the easy version of understanding the definition. But the only thing, like the difference is programming languages needed to be compiled and scripting language do not need compilation. Okay, that is the major difference. And JavaScript is kind of, you can use it for programming also and you can use it for scripting also. How we are going to see going forward. Mostly scripting, yes. So it's basically the way you perform, like use it. So now previously, how, like where actually JavaScript stays and where JavaScript lives. The primary place of, like every, let's suppose like you have Java, right? So you have something called as a special environment, right? To run Java files. You have Python, you have a special environment to run Python. So every language has a particular environment to run. Okay, so now when it comes to JavaScript, the environment where JavaScript runs is your web browser. Okay, so very important, you don't need a separate environment to be set up to run your JavaScript code. And this is how we are going to basically begin our learning with JavaScript. All your JavaScript code runs in your browser. Now where in the browser does your JavaScript run? So it has a particular console where you can actually like log and everything. It also helps you interact with the DOM, basically that is your website, and do n number of functionalities. Okay, so basically browser is your environment. Okay, and that was the case until 2009. Okay, so now what happened in 2009? Okay, so JavaScript was had a limited scope, that is just running in the browser, not able to make database calls, not able to make changes to user files on the desktop, not able to like make API requests, because it was just running on browser on the client side. Okay, so now what happened in 2009? Any guesses what had happened in 2009? I'll just put my phone right here. Yes, like JDK you have. Okay, Monty has given the answer. Great. So in 2009, something called as Node.js came up. Okay, so what is Node.js again? Okay, Node.js is not a programming language. Let me be very specific in that. Not a programming language. Okay, so now what Node.js is? Now, like you have JDK, or basically it's like an environment, right? So Node.js is a runtime environment for JavaScript, which lets you run JavaScript out of the browser. Now, with that particular major hurdle, getting off from JavaScript's capabilities had no limits. Okay, so now when it's out of the browser and onto your system, it's basically like you just install Node.js on your computer, and your computer, the whole computer is the environment. So you have everything within your computer scope to like handle or play with JavaScript. So Then came the possibilities of making database requests, making API calls, or managing authentication and everything. So all possibilities started up there, and Node.js was kind of the first thing which came up there, right? So it's kind of an environment, a runtime environment. It's a JavaScript runtime, okay? So now for people who don't know how JavaScript basically actually works in browser, another kind of general knowledge is every browser has an engine, okay? Every browser has an engine. So let's take Chrome has an engine called as V8. Okay, Mozilla has an engine called, if not like Spider Monkey something, it's the name. Is just I'm not uh, just I need to, like, you can just confirm this. If I'm wrong, just correct me here. And IE has something called as Chakra. Okay, so these are the engines which the browser has, okay, which runs JavaScript in your browser, and it's by default. You did not install it. Now, yeah, V8 is for Chrome. Now, Node.js basically brought this engines out of the browser onto your, and onto your machines, and with that started the, you can say, the capabilities of JavaScript, right? So any doubts till now in JavaScript, what we have learned, like what is JavaScript, okay, what is actually does, how, what was like how was JavaScript invented, where does JavaScript run, and what changes in happen in JavaScript, and what is a engine and everything, right? So we have covered so much as of now, this much. So any doubts, guys, till now? Do you have till now any doubts in this? So whatever I've not taught, I will cover like going forward. So till now, anything or everything clear? Give me a clarity in the chat, guys. I'm just looking at your chat. Okay. I guess some issue with the chat. Let me reload again. Today's session is going to for 1 hour. Okay, so we'll wrap up the session around 7:30, 7:45, right? So any doubts till now? Okay, so Karthik Tarun, JavaScript was not entirely made in 10 days. Okay, it was not entirely made in 10 days. The like you can say the initial prototype was made in 10 days, which was done kind of which saw like basically solved their use case at that time. Okay, going forward, JavaScript has undergone many revisions, and it is currently following the ECMA, you can say, specifications. Okay, and it came up with various versions like ES5, ES6. Okay, so JavaScript is not just wholly written in 10 days. I'll show how to write in the console. Okay, Mahesh is asking what is the difference between JavaScript and jQuery. So you can assume something like JavaScript is the, you can say, the core. Basically, you're writing each and every line. JavaScript, jQuery is basically someone has written the code behind the scenes, and you're just using a function to call that particular code, right? So basically, it reduces your line of code, and it's basically, you can say jQuery is kind of a legend in that terms. Like you have everything written by someone. Your most used functions and everything you can easily do. Like you have something called as document.get element by ID, and you put something in Java. In jQuery, it's just dollar and the bracket. Okay, that's how you get the element. And like fade out, fade in, like toggles, you have to write the whole functions for those, right? So it's basically, it reduces the number of lines in codes. Okay. Ah, okay, one more person is asking, is it possible to learn in 6 days? No, it's not possible to learn in 6 days. But yes, it's possible to get your fundamentals cleared in 6 days, so that you can go ahead and explore JavaScript in detail, because JavaScript is huge, literally huge, right? So it is going to take your time. JS is server side and client side. Yes, 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 yes. It's both on, works on both side. Other, you can just wait. We'll just start. Okay, please share attendance. Okay, something came up. Just let me close. Okay. Java is kind of a different language altogether, right? Java is a total different language. JavaScript is a different language. Okay. Attendance link Paridhi will send. right? So let's move on to the next agenda. Introduction is done. Now let's see where basically, so let's take for example, we have this website, right? So what I'll do is I'll just go in this console. Let me just pause this video. I'll just go. So how to go in console is just inspect, just right click and go to inspect. Okay, and you will see something called as console right here. So let me just zoom the screen till it's visible for you guys, and you can see something written as console. Okay, so this is basically where your JavaScript runs. So I'll just clear this off, and anything you write here runs it. So like I can just write 3 plus 4. This is kind of the calculation which I've done. Okay, so now how to output. JavaScript and TypeScript are basically linked. TypeScript is basically, you can say, the way of writing JavaScript. Okay, so it's kind of a superset of JavaScript, writing JavaScript in a stricter way. So it's everything is in the name. So when you write JavaScript, you write like you will declare a variable along with its type, and no other type of data is allowed to store in that variable. That's just one thing. Okay, in TypeScript. Okay, and yeah, very, very, very great point. You, if you're working in a better, like big project, TypeScript is always a good option, right? Okay, so now when you basically learn any programming language, right, the first thing you guys learn is a print command. Okay, the print command, how to like basically print the output on that particular terminal. In like C, you have C terminal. In Java, you have, when you compile code, you get the output. So how to basically see or print a line or a sentence in JavaScript? It's very, very like easy. You have a object called as console. So now this console refers to this whole tab. Okay, so whatever this console basically refers to this whole tab in the browser. Okay, how to go to this browser, I'll again tell you for the guys who have missed it, is just right click and go to inspect. Okay, and then go to the console tab. Now console is the object, and it has a function called as log. So it has many functions, right? And out of that, the main function which you're going to use a lot is log. And you type a string there, welcome to let's upgrade. Okay, and just hit enter, and you see we have printed welcome to let's upgrade. Now you guys won't be able to understand this here. We will move to a code editor right away in next 2 minutes, but this is basically how you can basically print a statement in JavaScript, or print anything like for that matter. Just we're going to use console.log a lot, and that's why I'm just telling you this basic statement basically acts as a savior also when you're using it in the bigger projects to see where your error has occurred and everything, right? So now let's basically directly jump on to the coding part, right? So let's just go ahead with the agenda. Okay, the syntax and output syntax and comment. So we are going to cover these three things fast, right? So let's move on to the editor. So let me just open the editor. Okay, yeah, just give me a minute. I'll just fix my screen, guys. Okay, just I'm making a folder essentials. Yeah, I'm just creating a folder, guys. I'm just creating a folder. I'm just creating a folder. Just a minute. I'm just creating a folder. Nothing I've done yet. Okay, just let me create a folder. I'll zoom my editor. Okay, so I'm just creating a folder. JavaScript. So all the code and everything, whatever I do, will be here, which I'll be sharing with you. Okay, so now how to basically let's and the code editor which we are going to use is basically VS Code. So a very quick way to download VS Code, I'll just take you there. Visual, just write VS Code. Okay, so just Google out VS Code, and you will just get it. And this is the link. I'll just be putting this in the chat as well for you guys. Okay, so for you guys, I'll just be putting, you don't need to install JS. it's already in your browser, as I mentioned, right? You don't have to do anything to run JavaScript on your machine. Okay, so just download this VS Code. Okay, and we are going to get started with I prefer VS Code. Okay, another you can say another editors which you can work on is like Sublime Text is there. There is Sublime Text, there is VS Code, then you have Atom. Okay, so you can use any n number of things. Great, great, great. So now let's go ahead. Okay, so now once you are in some, this is the kind of window which will open. Okay, once you open the VS Code, right? So now when you want to open a folder in VS Code, very simple way, the very efficient way is to just drag and drop this folder here. Okay, and VS Code will open it. Okay, that easy. Okay, so now let's create our very first file. So just now, okay, so let me just make a index. Is it clearly visible now, guys? I guess I have zoomed my editor as well. Yes, you can use Sublime Text. Okay, but my favorite and the most used is VS Code, right? So is my editor clearly visible, guys? Just give me a small confirmation. Guys, I guess I cannot see your charts. Just let me know if you can see my font so I can actually start coding and I can explain you guys, right? I'm just waiting. I'll just create. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we will create a first file. As I mentioned, we will create a HTML file. Why? Because HTML basically you're running it in a browser, and browser basically runs your HTML files. Okay, how to run it outside of the browser, I'll tell in the very end. Okay, that's how we'll close the session. Okay, so I have first what, like if you're not understanding HTML, it's completely okay. I'll just explain you real quick what we are doing. So just like click type exclamation mark, hit tab, and this is something we'll get. I'll remove the unnecessary parts from HTML. Okay, I'll just remove the unnecessary parts. I'll quickly go through the tags. Doc type is the type of your file, right? Zoom little bit. Okay, just let me do that for you. That should work right now. Okay, so now, and head is basically all the like information about your web page, like the title, all the meta tags, your links, your scripts, and everything sits here, right? And this is the body basically where we are going to write JavaScript. Now the first question is where to include JavaScript, okay, and the ways of writing JavaScript. So today we are going to use JavaScript in the same file in the index.html, and tomorrow onwards we will learn how to write JavaScript in a separate file and run it on the browser. Okay, so now there are two ways to write a JavaScript file. First is, and JavaScript file is basically written in a script tag. Okay, so you basically write it in a script tag. It just so it's a script end and closing tag, and this is where you write JavaScript. So now there are two places where you can write JavaScript. One is in the head, okay, one is in the body, okay, at the end of the body. So now Mohit, can you just mention what things you want to me to repeat? Told me that you should be perfect for one program, do not go for a different program. Any, like, just Mohit just mention the doubts till I'll just go forward, right? So now you'll basically see in a web page that scripts are present at both the parts. Okay, some scripts are present at the starting of the web page, some scripts are present at the ending of the web page. So now what is the difference? That is, so when a HTML page is loaded, right, it comes from top to bottom. Okay, so now let's suppose when you open this page, it will first read your title. Okay, and then it will come to your script. So now if you place the heavy scripts here, what will happen is it will basically stop loading these pages until the scripts are loaded. Okay, and then it will come down. So you will see that all the links and outer references of everything are put here, and whatever the manual codes and everything, and the heavy scripts like jQuery or anything is here. And the most preferred way of writing a script is at the end of the body. Okay, I'll come to extension. Karthik will go to that a separate page for JavaScript in the next session. Just I have to explain a basic few concepts here, right? So now let's see like how to write JavaScript. So I'll not be using it in the head tag. Okay, I'll be writing it in the script. So now what we'll do is again, so what is the function that we learned? What is the function that we learned to print anything on JavaScript? Can anyone mention it in the chat? We just did it 5 to 10 minutes ago, right? What is the command to print anything in JavaScript? I'm just expecting answers from you guys. What is the command we learned to print a sentence in JavaScript? So I'm expecting answers. So I'll type whatever you say here, right? Okay, no one yet? Hey, single, not a single answer from you guys yet. Yeah. Monty, that is correct. You can add a defer keyword that will load it at the end of the page. That is like people like usually don't prefer that much. Console.log. Great. So I guess RKD is the only person. Okay, I am getting answers now. So I guess there's a kind of a delay of 10 to 15 seconds, right? Okay. So yeah, so correctly said. So what we'll do is we will just write console.log. Okay, and what I'll write here is welcome to Java. Welcome to, just move my mobile down. Welcome to Let's Upgrade JS Essentials. Okay, now what I've done is I have written my code, okay, in the browser, okay, and now I want to run this file, okay, this index. What I'll do is I'll just right click on this, go to copy path, go to my preferred browser. Okay, let's for example I am using this. Let me just open it here. Go to my preferred browser, and before that let me just open the console again. So basically, as I mentioned, this is the place where JavaScript runs. So let's see actually how it runs, right? So we are going to load our page. Just see at the browser, okay, just see at this console, this particular right space. So once we start loading our page, you will see that something was printed here. It's basically the same thing which we wrote, right? Welcome to let's upgrade JavaScript essentials, and it's from the index.html line number 10, right, which is perfectly matching with this code. So now we have learned how to print your like statements into JavaScript in a browser, right? So this is the thing. Any doubts right here? Print is not here. Printf is not here. That's in C. That is not here. System.console.writeLine. Console.writeLine not again here. So the basics, just go with the basics, guys. System.out.println is for Java. Okay, that's for Java. Print is for Python. Okay, so now moving on to the next thing. So now we have learned how to write the output, and basically there's no kind of particular syntax. It's just like after every line, just it's a good way to write it's good like a good programming method to put a semicolon to mark an end of your code. Okay, how to display on screen? We are going to use like DOM manipulation. You can directly use like document.writeLine, but it is not the preferred way. Why? I'll tell you when we basically talk about the document object model. Okay, if you want to directly write this into your web page right here, you can do that with document.writeLine, and it will go there. Okay, we will come to alert and everything. We have that in the today's agenda as well, right? So now let's, okay, so we have learned how to you can say basically write your output in this. Now the second thing is how to declare variables. Okay, how to declare variables and what are the data types available in JavaScript. Okay, so just let me basically to explain you guys, just let's have our agenda written here as well. So I'll just write, so in the way like what we are going to learn. Okay, so variables, data types, operators. Okay, just a minute. Operators, and we have special character data types, variable operators, and special characters. Basically you can just have, just let's cover this much, and if we time permits I'll go down. Okay, yes guys, just be patient. I am here to, I'm the reason I'm going slow is I have to make sure that each and every one of you is understanding. Okay, so that is the reason I'm going in very detail. Okay, so just be patient. I know a few of you guys already know JavaScript, and it's completely fine. I have a lot of things. I'll basically completely show the agenda as well. Okay, so you know when you can expect what to happen, right? So basically these two things we are going to learn today. So alerts and everything I have in the thing. Let me just put your alert also here. Okay, so along with alert you're going to learn prompt and confirm also. So those are another like two methods of the window object and confirm. Okay, so in variables, okay, great. And so this is the basically two things we are going to cover today. Okay, so if you guys can see, or let me just zoom my screen. So this is the two things we're going to learn today. Okay, tomorrow we are going to learn about decisions and loop. Okay, if else and loops, that is what you're going to learn tomorrow, right? On Tuesday we are going to learn about modular programming. Okay, functions and ES6 concepts like arrow functions and everything. Okay, and then we will move on the very important topic in JavaScript, which is basically the one which everyone is interested in, that is how to play with HTML or how to play with your web pages, and that we will do along with a project. Okay, so I have something kind of, you can say, interesting for you guys, something kind of a e-commerce site or a CRUD application you can just add to your cart and everything. Okay, and do the checkout, something of that sort I have in your mind. So be patient, whatever I'm teaching we are going to use it in that project. And basically this is kind of the fundamentals which you will learn. So till the fifth module it's going to be kind of a individual lectures on that particular topic. From the DOM manipulation we will actually begin using, like we will learn by building that project. Okay, so whatever you learn will basically have everything from the previous 5 modules, and with that we will build that project. I guess now the basic agendas for each and every day are clear to you guys, and I can again go to my current day agenda, right? So now, like you want to, let's say suppose you have to store something is x equal to 10. Okay, so now this is the thing, this is what you write in Python basically. So what this basically means is x is kind of a temporary memory location, okay, which stores that particular value 10. Okay, so now how do you declare a variable in JavaScript? Okay, that is basically done with var x. This is the way, and I have assigned the value. Okay, so now can anyone tell me the meaning of var? What is the meaning of var? Guys, what is the meaning of var? Just tell me. Okay, I guess there is a kind of a lag. So meanwhile, I just check the doubts, previous doubts. What is the meaning of var here, which I have, like, I'm just highlighting it. What is the meaning of var? I'll be sharing this file with you guys. Variable, no. Akadi, it's a wrong answer. Variable is the wrong answer. Anyone else wants to try what is the meaning of var? Variable is what? Okay, no, it's not variable. It's not variable. Variable is the wrong answer, guys. What is var? Again the wrong answer. Yes, Shweta, correct answer. So we have one correct answer, that is variant. Okay, so now let's suppose you have Java, right? You store like int x, or you mention string, right? In Python it's just x, and in like different templates it's like, again in C it's just int. Okay, now in JavaScript there is no requirement as such to mention the data type. So what you can do is just declare something called as var. And basically var, what it means, I'm just trying to write here, is var equals to variant. Okay, this is the meaning of variant, is basically means that variant of x can store anything. Okay, it can store number, it can store a text. Okay, it can store a boolean, it can store boolean values as well. So it can store any type of data, right? And that's the meaning of var. Okay, so now with ES6 coming up, there was some kind of issues which var had. Okay, to name a few, once you declare var, it's basically declared globally. Okay, and you can say it was kind of a function scope, right? And there was new things introduced in ES6 of new two types, like a way of declaring variables, that is let and const. Okay, so I'll just make it to here. Variables are the way, basically variables is this is a variable. Okay, and variant is that basically where this is the way of declaring a variable. X is a variable. Okay, var x, and you can see type number. The person with the doubt on TypeScript, you can just like if you are there, right? This is how you write basically TypeScript. You can have to just mention the type here when you are declaring a variable in TypeScript. Is just type number. Okay, so it will not work here now. So that is the way, and you can see if you hover this, you will see that the type is number. Okay, if I change this to a text, you see the type becomes string. Okay, so now let's move on to the new concepts which came up, like let. Just write it in command. This is basically what we are going to use. We are going to learn the updated JavaScript version, so we are not going to use, you can say, we are not going to use var mode. So it's like let and const are the two keywords. Okay, so now what let offers is, like, it basically is kind of, you can say, scoped variable. Okay, it's kind of a scoped variable. What is the exact differentiation between var and let, I'll tell you in maybe 2-3 days after lecture. Okay, meanwhile you can research. I want you to do the research. Const I'll explain because it's like nothing kind of it's very easy. Okay, const basically means constant. Okay, so I'll give what is let is kind of your homework. Difference between I'll just put it in assignment also. Difference between let and var. One thing I have told is the difference between the scope. Okay, one is function scoped, one is block scoped. Okay, so if you don't know what's a function scope, it's basically anything between like this function uh, function display. This is basically a function scope. Like whatever comes here is a function scope. Like let's say was uh, var x. This is kind of function scope. And what block scope means, this is the meaning of block scope. This is the kind of a block. Okay, a code block between those curly braces. Okay, now this is one difference which I have mentioned. When you declare var, it's taken to the top of the JavaScript. Okay, it's hoisted. Okay, so that is one which I have helped you with. The exact difference you will have to find out. I'll just skip this code here. Okay, so now coming to the const. What is const? So let's take an example. Okay, let's try to write a const and see actually it happenings. Okay, so I'm writing const age equal to 24. Okay, so now let's also, yeah, let's learn before that printing variables into your console. Okay, so now you can see previously what we were doing is we were just printing the sentence, okay, as a string. Now what if you want to print this x? Okay, what you want to press? So hello, I am from a variable. I'm not able to see my screen. Variable x. What if I want to print from that, print this particular variable on the console? That is right here. So how do I do that? So we have again the same function. Okay, so I'll again write console dot log, and instead of writing this sentence, what I'll do is I'll just write this x. Okay, now that, okay, and just did a mistake, and once I go here and run it, you can see another line printed on the console along with this. That is, hello, I am from a variable x. Okay, so this is how you basically print a variable on the console. Now coming to the const part, so let's again print this. So how do we do that? Is very simple. Console.log age, and you will see a number printed on your console. Okay, so this is the way. And now if you observe very clearly, right, I'm in the dark mode, but still if you observe very clearly, there is a kind of differentiation in the color of particular outputs, right? The strings are printed in white while the numbers are printed in blue. So it's kind of a help with JavaScript gives, is like to separate the types of data with the like a different like visual help which you get is like strings and numbers have different colors in the output, right? So now let's try to change the value of that particular variable. Okay, so now I'll just write const means okay, just write const means a constant. Okay, so constant, what does it mean is value once assigned cannot be changed. Very very important. How, when and where to use const is when you want to make sure that the value which you are storing needs to be constant throughout and should not be changed. That's where you use the constant. Okay, a const variable, a keyword. Okay, so now let's try to change the value of age. Okay, so I'll write age equal to 30. Okay, so now nothing, you will see like directly I don't need to print it even. Okay, I don't need to do it. So what it is saying is I tried to make an assignment to a constant variable. Okay, and how to so I'm basically teaching you even how to debug your errors in JavaScript. Okay, so you can see something happened and on the line number 32. Okay, in the HTML. So we'll go to line number 32. What we have done wrong here is try to reassign a value to a const. Okay, if I do this, let's again print this, you will see that we are not getting an error. Okay, it's perfectly fine working. But if I do this with const, I'm going to get this error. Okay, assignment, yes yes yes, correctly, like final in Java. Okay, so any doubts still here, any doubts still here with variable declaration? So this is basically how you declare a variable. Okay, this is how you declare a variable. So any doubts till now, guys? Whatever we have learned, okay, whatever we have learned in that, do you have any doubts? Just give me a go ahead so I can proceed to the new topics. Just give me a go ahead. Great, great. So are you guys understanding whatever I'm teaching? Am I going too fast, too slow? Please give me a feedback so I can basically teach that way. Okay, and I hope you are enjoying JavaScript. You have just started this journey, right? JavaScript is amazing. So now data types. Okay, what is lag? There is nothing called as lag. There is okay, so basically what does log do? Okay, again I'll explain for you, Pawan Kumar Reddy. So console is kind of an object. Okay, console is kind of an object. What object is the inspect element? Once you go to inspect element, let me explain it for you again. So just look very clearly. I am clicking on inspect. Okay, then I go to this console part, and this particular thing right here is what is represented by this console object. Okay, that's the console object. And when I do a log function, what it does is whatever is here, it basically logs it here in this particular console. Okay, that's what console.log does. Okay, thank you, Karthik. Right, so now let's move ahead with data types. Okay, so now can you just guys tell me what kind of, like, just write down the types of data types which you know of exist in JavaScript. Okay, so this is how we'll go, right? I'll ask you questions, you give your answers, and then we'll proceed. Because I know like many of you have basic knowledge, and those for your learning or those who are for the first time, I am there to make sure that you become an expert programmer in JavaScript. Okay, so does anyone know the data types JavaScript has? We'll not learn every data type. There is many types of data types in JavaScript. The basic ones. Okay, just put in the chat, right? So just put them in the chat. Okay, so we have one that is string. Okay, just let me. Okay, I actually missed a lot. No, we don't have int and char. We don't have int and char here. Okay, there is no type of character data type. Okay, so I'm just typing whatever things you are telling. We have first is the string, second is numbers. So I'm just typing whatever you guys are telling. So make sure you're writing the correct answers. Okay. Third is array. Another is Boolean. Okay, so I have got a quite interactive crowd today. That's nice. Boolean. Another let const is a keyword for declaring variable. Undefined and none. Great, great, great. Okay, so this is kind of the the undefined and none itself are kind of what you can say. I can explain it for half an hour or 1 hour. What those difference and what how the calculation works with those. So we'll have a separate session for that if time permits. Okay, then we have null. Okay, a few is missing. Few are missing. Double we don't have. Let var is not data type. Okay, and seventh is kind of a object. Okay. What? Okay. Someone mentioned 8. So can anyone tell the eighth one? String number array boolean undefined null object. Object is done. Object is done, guys. What next? What next? We're not going to learn that pointers are not there. Okay, pointers are okay. So let me just type in. We're not going to learn that 8 one right now. Okay. So maybe I'll teach it in once the basics are clear. Symbols. Great, great, Shweta. So I guess Shweta is kind of a JavaScript fan who has already like done her learning and everything. So we have kind of symbols. Okay, so we are not going to learn that right now. That is today. This is kind of out of scope as of now. I'll teach you guys this. Okay, but in the later sessions. Okay, the major things which the basics which you need to be clear of is string number, array, boolean, undefined, null, and object. So what how we will basically learn is we will type each of those data type in this below this, and we will learn to yeah we have nan is there again, not a number is there. Okay, nan is there, then you have again have okay, nan big end, yes, big end is there. Okay, so those are kind of advanced, too advanced as of now with the scope of this program. And I'll explain. I'll just write what all to explain, not a number. Okay, this is just writing to be explained. I'll just mark it star again. So and I'll explain today. It's nothing like rocket science. Thank you, Karthikeyan. It's actually good to be back into like teaching after 6-7 months. It's actually good, right? So yeah, so let's move on to the very first data type, that is string, right? So very easy, as I mentioned, we are going to use let as our keyword. So let name equal to, I'll write my name, Prasad. Okay, let's not take my name. Let's take someone from the chat. Okay, let's take Kartikeya. Okay, I'll take your name, Kartikeya. Kartikeya, this is your name. I've written this name. Now, this is the way you write. Okay, so this is kind of the preferred way to write a string. So now, when we deal with each data type, right, I'll teach what are the ways of writing you can say a string. What are the different ways of writing a string, and same will go for other data types, right? So we are going to follow this approach. So now we are with the first. Okay, we have 8 more to cover, right? So yeah, so now let's again the basic, we will again write console.log name. So make this a habit to write console.log every time, so that you get used to like it. Basically makes your debugging very easy, and comment it out when you're deploying the project. Yes, Anjit, I'll take your name as well. Okay, I'll take your name. So now console.log. So now let's see, let's go to our browser, and okay, let name. Okay, we have a error here, it's not going ahead. Uh let's remove this code. That is the reason we are getting the error. Okay, Karthik, yeah. So let me do one thing. What I'll do is actually I'll just open this side by side. Okay, so you guys don't have to face that issue of seeing the code. Okay, so let me just open my code side by side for you guys. so that you basically see the output and everything at one place. Let's open the console again. Okay, where is the console? Console, please come. Okay, it's here. Let me move it to down. Okay. Okay, so we have a console right here. Okay, so yeah, so now whatever we will code, we will be able to see it right here. Can we use var in the place of let? Is it possible? Yes, we can use. We can use. No worries, we can actually use. But we are not going to use. The reason is you have to do a homework. Okay, you have to find the difference between var and let and var. Okay, this we can use. It actually did, right? We used it. So now going ahead, how to print, we have learned. Now what if I have to print some other string with a particular name? So what if I have to print hello Kartikeya? What to do in that case? So let's write again console.log, and I'll put hello, I'll put a space, I'll put a concat, a plus mark. Along with that, what I want to put is the name variable. Okay, so let's refresh this, and you will see that we have now printed hello Kartikeya. But this approach is kind of the approach I don't like. Okay, this is not the optimum way of writing or concatenating strings while printing your output. Okay, or even like creating a variable or of with multiple outputs. So you can basically declare, okay, so the people you asking to take the names, let's do that. So name to, let's take another name. Who was that person? Take my name Anjit. Okay, so now I'm writing it in single quotes. Okay, just see, writing in single quotes. The third way is let name 3, another name I'll be requiring, another name. Okay, let's take name of Shweta. Okay, so I'm just writing it like this, Shweta. Okay, so now just see what type of like there is a symbol above your tab key. Okay, above your tab, and basically at the left of your one number, that is kind of a tilde sign. Okay, you just put this into tilde. So these are basically the ways of writing a string in JavaScript. Okay, so now let's try to print each one of them. Okay, so let's try to print each one of them. Sorry for that one, with the different names. Okay, name 2, name 3, and let's go and refresh this. Right, so we have all the things. Hello Karthik, hello Anjit, hello Shweta. So what I'll now do is I'll teach you how to write templates. Okay, how to write templates. Yeah, we can use comma. Okay, we can use comma. So I'll write how to use template literals. Okay, there is something called as template literals. I'll just mention that concept below here. Okay, very favorite, my favorite, template literals. What basically you do in this is we are going to use this name Shweta. Okay, with this tilde. Okay, what I'll do is I'll do console.log. Instead of name, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tilde sign. Okay, I'm just putting this tilde sign because we can actually write a string in this tilde, right? So I'm just referencing this. Now what I'll do is I want to say hello to each one of them together. Okay, so let's say hello there. Now just observe what I do. Okay, I'm just putting a dollar sign. I want to get the value of what. Now here I can just print the variable. Okay, so let's, if I want to say suppose name, what I can do is I can just put the variable. Okay, and if I just go and save this, you will see that I'm getting the same name. So I don't need to take care of the punctuation, whether I like, if you do this, you see that here it's like stick, like there's no space. But here I'm not worried about the punctuation because it's like typing in English, right? Wherever you want to type something, you like also welcome. So see, I'm typing like English. Well, also welcome. Again, I want to type the value. I'm just putting this dollar and the braces, and I'm writing Anjit, not Anjit, name two, and again like and name 3. Okay. Now, if you go and refresh, you will see that we have actually got it like proper punctuated, and what you have written is just this. So this is the kind of way. This is the way we are going to use uh, like how to print and how to concatenate and how to print variables. This is the way we are going to use, right? So any doubts till now? Any doubts till now? Okay. Okay, why you are using single quotes? Thank you for that. So it is basically, I have told you, like if you want to, you can say the ways of writing JavaScript strings. Okay, so now let's take another example to solve this query. Okay, let's take this. So what if I want to print name something like hmm, I just kind of think kind. Okay, so let's take, okay, hmm, okay. So what if I want to print something like John's car? Okay, this is the variable I want to print. Okay, so let me put it into let x equal to a particular string. Okay, so now if you see, if I do, so it's like basically if you want to write something in between a string. Okay, so what will happen is, if I just uh, John's car, if I'm writing this, so I can use a single quote again, and I can again write something in a quote right here, hello. Okay, so let's try to print this. You will have nothing of that sort, but just to clear your doubt why we do this, I'm just doing so. Just, okay, not hello there x, but let's try to print this. We have already defined x. Have we already defined x? Okay, we've already defined x. Let's make it y. See, this is the thing. So what if I had started this with a single quote? Okay, what if my string was at a single quote? You can see the errors coming right away. Okay, so when I get a single quote, the next time I see a single quote, my string ends. Okay, so that is what happens, and that is the reason you can basically, JavaScript has given you the flexibility to use single quotes and double quotes. So whenever is there's something which you like, there's something kind of this in your sentence, preferably use single quotes inside and double quotes outside. So that is the reason it's very like kind of suggested to use directly template literals. Store it in this way, no mess of doing this. I guess something uh, again, the very worst. Saurabh, we are actually giving like certificates. There are a lot of certificates in line, so that is the reason it is happening a delay, right? But majority thing like certificates, just certificates are not going to help you, to be very honest. Okay, if you just take certificate without knowledge, it's basically as equal to your newspaper. Okay, that's what it is, right? So yeah, so I'll just keep it for reference, so that when I'm share you the code, you have this. I'm just going to comment it. So that is one thing. And now we will go to another data type. So I guess I'll extend till 8 basically, right? So let's see how to write numbers. So as I already mentioned, writing numbers is nothing. Let num equal to 8. That's it basically. That's how you write a number. If you want to write a decimal, you write it like this. That's it. Okay, that's basically it. So 8.26 or 8, it's the same way of writing. X was it was giving a problem because I had already declared a variable x here above. So that is the reason it was giving me a error. So that's the reason I have changed it to y. It was not because of the const part. Okay, so yeah, now next we have is like array, boolean, and undefined. Okay, so how to define an array is very simple. Is like let arr equal to, just put the square brackets. Okay, and anything you write between this is an array. You write so now just see this. I am writing a text here. I'm writing a number here. I am writing a boolean value. Okay, let's learn array at the end. Before that, I'm just stopping the array here. How to write boolean value is let bool. So boolean value are basically just two, true and false. So how to write is true or UE true, and another value which it will have is false. Everything in lowercase, right? So that's it. That's the way you write a Boolean value. Okay. Now, if I want to write array, how do I write an array? It's basically simple. Square brackets, and you can see I can basically type anything here. Okay, so I can type a bool value, that is, let's take false this time. I can take false here, then I can type another array inside this. Now in this array, what we'll do is we'll try to include this array. Okay, so now we'll write num, then we will write bool. Okay, let's do something, let's try something. I don't know what is going to be the output. I'm just putting it again. Okay, so now if you hover over this right array, you will see that it tells that let array variable is kind of a any is basically kind of like it can hold type data type of like any data type. That's the reason we are allowed to use this. So now let's write console.arr. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it is telling we have used it. So let's try to remove this. Let's see what does it give. Yeah, now you can, if you can see, we have learned how to basically declare an array, and you can see it is allowing me to basically use all the types of data types in here. And arrays are basically stored in index. Okay, arrays are basically stored in indexes. So the first index is the index 0. So text is at the place of 0, 4 is at the place of 1, and that's how it goes. Array are stored in like with the reference to an index. Okay, so that's about array. And now coming to undefined and null, I take at the end. Now coming to object. Okay, JavaScript objects, how to let obj. So this okay, Mr. obj equal to this curly braces. So how to declare JavaScript object is basically this. So you just put curly braces, then you have something called as key, and you have a value. Okay, you have a particular value. Now value depends on what type of it is. Like if you are putting text, you have to mention it in quotes. If you are putting number, you can put it directly like this. If you have false or Boolean value, you can put it like this. If you have an array, you have to put it like this. Okay, so I'm just mentioning the key as name equal to, again, a name Sumedh. Okay, let's take Sumedh. If you don't want to initialize the array, it will tell you undefined. Okay, you have not given any definite value to it. I'll show that also. What happens if you just declare an array or declare a variable and do not assign a value? What does it give? Okay, so we'll see that also. Okay, RKD, just don't like just don't make fun of. It's okay if they're having like silly questions. It's completely fine. I was at a time having zero knowledge on JavaScript. Okay, so it's always great to start. Okay, so yeah, so let's take Sumit. Let's take it his age. Okay, let's take his age, and this will what we'll do is we will put 24. So just trying to make sure that you're basically seeing and city is not required, is adult, and I'm going to use it true. Okay, now you can see I am using comma to separate each and every key and value. Again, this has to be in this. Now let's try to print this. Okay, console.log obj. Let's try to print this. You can see we have printed an object, and this is how it prints. Okay, age is 24, name is Sumedh, and is adult is true, right? So this is the thing. This is the thing, right? And this is basically kind of the object keyword, how the sorry object data type, right? So now coming on to undefined and null, what we'll basically learn is, okay, so basically null is when you want to initialize a variable to null. Okay, so let z equal to null. Okay, that's how you define a null variable. That's it. Okay, that's it, and it will basically give you like it is basically initializing z as null. Okay, Now we are going to, at the end of this like typing the data types, we are going to learn how to check the data types of your particular variables. Right now, undefined, like let's suppose let city. I've just done this. Let city, I have not declared any value. Okay, now the type of this data type of this variable is undefined. Okay, so now how to check what is the type of a data type of that particular variable. So I'm just going to write console.log. Okay, instead of this I'm just going to write type of, and in that I'm just going to mention city. Let's try it if this works, and you can see it's undefined. Okay, the type of city is undefined. Similarly, we are going to do it for each and every variable which we have used. Just printing this. Okay, so let's get each and every variable. We have obj. Okay, you have obj. Basically, you have to store a URL. Okay, you cannot directly print anything like print a image directly to console. Okay, that is not possible actually. Okay, city, you have ARR. If you want to display it on the web page, you can do that. Yes, you can, Raj, you can do that. We are going to actually do that going forward. Okay, when we basically deal with the project or arrays in our functions and everything, I'm going to actually teach you how to run a loop on an array or how to store multiple nested arrays. Okay, obj is there, bool num and name. Okay, so we have bool, we have num, and we have name. Okay, and then we had something called as z also. Okay, now let's run all of this. Now you can see obj array is again an object, so it's showing you that data type is an object. Yes, I'll come to that. So you'll see, now you have to like see there is kind of discrepancy, right? Whatever we just read and what you're going to see here. So this is kind of you're going to be another question. I'll just give you a hint of why it is showing an object and not as an array. Okay, you have to dig deeper, and tomorrow I'll explain again at the initial stage. I'm just going to give you hints. Okay, why it is showing. Let's say the city was kind of undefined, it's undefined. Z is kind of an object, it's not null, it's not showing null here, it's kind of showing an object. Okay, R is again showing an object, bool is boolean, num is number, string is string, and Z, which is null, is an object. Okay, so now everything in this is an object. Okay, so now if it's null, it's basically inherits from the object class. So that is kind of a small hint which I have given to you in detail. Okay, so I'll write the question here. Question 2, why are null array and null array and what is the, okay, null and array, basically object is basically an object printed as object type in console. Okay, so I'm going to share you this file which will have your questions. Okay, so I'm just writing the question number right here. Difference between let and var. Okay, so that is the thing, right? And yep, so I guess, yeah, nan is basically what happens is, yes, object is the parent class of all data type. That's what I was telling. And nan is basically when you try to multiply a number with a non-number thing, it basically gives you nan. The basically full form of nan is not a number. Okay, that means that not a number. This is basically what it means, right? So I guess it's already 8 and I have had to cover this many things, but I guess we can stop here for today. Tomorrow we will just start like today with the introduction, everything. It got a little delayed, so we'll stop here. I'll just send it right away after the session, the file. Okay, so tomorrow we will cover this. Okay, so these are the two questions. Okay, for question number 1 and question number 2. Okay, so you can just write it in a text file or a word file or anything, and you can send it in the assignment form. Question number 1 is, right, what is the difference between let and wire? Okay. Second question is, why are null array printed as object in the console? Okay. So this is the thing. Okay. So yeah, any doubts in the today's lecture, guys? Undefined is basically I have not defined that variable. That's what the error, or you can say, or not assigned an value. Okay. If you have, it has to be like by default the value of any variable is undefined. Okay. So if I just try to like, okay, this my, see, another beautiful thing of JavaScript is I can just type my variable here and it will give me undefined. Okay, because we have not defined anything. If I have to type z, I'll type z and it will give me null because I have initialized with null. Assignment is this file. I'll just, right after this session, I'll just give you this file. Answer you can submit in the assignment submission form. Okay. So yeah, guys, we will wrap today's session. Okay. Yes, RKD, very like correct. Not defining. Yeah, not defining a variable with a value. Assignment. Okay. Let me write it here. Question number 1 is this. So the first day we are going to go slow, like very basics, right? I hope like the basics and everything is kind of very clear. So these are the 2 questions. I'll be sending it out to my team and they will upload it in your portal. Okay, those should be visible for you. Okay, null is basically when you initialize the value with null. Okay, and if you don't initialize anything to a particular variable, its by default value is undefined. That's the only difference. You can like think of it as of this right now. I'll go in detail going ahead. Okay, so yes, thank you, Akdi, for that particular thing. I hope like I have tried to like make JavaScript very easy for you. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, Sumit. So we are going to have fun going like this. Just be interactive, okay? And we'll like do a lot amazing things in JavaScript. So I guess we can stop for today. Paridhi, I'll just stop sharing my screen. Okay. So yeah, assignment submission form is circulated in the chat, guys. Right. So thank you. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Press. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time. If you have any friends or something who can get you, who are like actually scared of JavaScript, get them here. We will have fun together and learn JavaScript, right? So that is one thing. So yeah, guys. So we will meet tomorrow. Thank you, Abhishek, for that comment. We will meet tomorrow again at the same time. So be there 5 minutes early so we can start on time, right? So bye, guys. Stay safe, take care, and keep coding.